Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good to have you again here in this good conference. Today I'm going to speak about something different. It's about artificial intelligence in space, how we are going to use artificial intelligence and how the artificial intelligence is used in space. So basically the presentation will be a combination of technical and business presentation. Before starting, talking about the artificial intelligence, we need to know that today there are more than 4,800 satellites orbiting the Earth, almost 5,000 satellites orbiting the Earth. So we need to understand also what we mean about space. We are not just, seeing the space which is outer of our Earth. So we'll define what we mean about space. In space, we have two types of sectors. We have upstream sector and we have downstream sector. In the upstream sector, we have a satellite manufacturing. We have also launch services and ground segment. In the downstream, that's mean on our Earth, we have satellite operators and we have as well services like data analytics. As you can see here, we have different type of examples, operators, and companies who are playing major roles in upstream and downstream. For example, in satellite manufacturers, it's dominated by Airbus, Mitsubishi. Launch services also managed by SpaceX Rocket Lab, so they are sending satellites to the orbit. Ground segment is also mandated and operated by KSAT and Amazon. They are providing ground network for systems and also for operators. However, in downstream, we have different operators, different companies, they are playing major roles like Maxar, like Planets. So these companies are selling capacity to service providers, to telecoms, to any other, service providers. Also, we have services that are selling services to end users like TVs, like also telecom companies. So basically, the space sector, it consists of many different components. We have satellite communications, we have satellites dedicated for Earth observations that's providing critical data to some entities like metro entities. We have also satellite navigation systems. We have also space security, so they are providing security to protect their assets in space. We have research and development, basically in science. We have space explorations, sending unmanned vehicles to orbit, to Mars as well. And lastly, space transportation, sending some people and also launching some vehicles to outer space. Like any other sectors, space sectors has, developed from space 1.0 up to space 4.0. As you can see, the space 4.0 has been changed because today we have different players in the market. We have also new motivation to discover Mars, to send people outside the Earth, and also because of the cost is reduced. Besides that, the technology driven by artificial intelligence is helping the market of space in order to introduce new business models. So to understand how we can use artificial intelligence in space, we need to understand first what we mean by artificial intelligence. Whether in space or any other sectors, artificial intelligence is about algorithms. So these algorithms are used whether in space or outside space. Just to make it very simple, we need to have some examples how we use artificial intelligence and specifically machine learning to analyze some satellite data. So I'll go technically right now in one of the examples in machine learning, how we use the machine learning to do some analysis for satellite images. This is a very simple machine learning algorithms that collect the data until it predicts the data. So first of all, the first step, we need to collect the data from different sources. That means from different satellites, from different databases, and then we need to prepare these images in order to understand more about these images and to predict about these images. So we need to eliminate and such old images, such, for example, unlabeled images, non-clear images, low resolution images, Then we need to choose the model based on our business needs, based on our business models. Do we need the images for weather forecast? Do we need the images for security, for border security, for border protection? So we need to choose the best model, which is also depending on another algorithms. After that, we need to train and evaluate our algorithm. Usually the training consists of 80% of our trained images, satellite images, and then we need to also to evaluate it using new images, which is consist of 20% of the whole set of satellite images data. After that, we need to tune the parameter by repeating immediately the training and evaluation until we have a precise results in order to have at the end we can classify the satellite images, whether we can, for example, we see roads, we see some infrastructures, we see also some buildings. Another example of using the artificial intelligence is the sentiment analysis. That's mean when any space agency send astronauts outside the Earth, they are just recording their voices. They keep recording what they are saying. So they need to understand their emotions. They need to understand their feelings, how they are doing. Actually, they are transferring speech to text. That's mean transferring their voices to text. And this is one of the examples to understand, are they good? Are they happy in transferring, for example, are they, living in a good condition outside the Earth? That's mean during in the space shuttle. This is an example. For example, the astronaut said to his colleague, the mission was great. So how I can use artificial intelligence in order to specify this astronaut, he is feeling good, he is feeling, for example, happy, he is not, complaining about the surrounding environment. So I have to use the sentiment analysis algorithm. That's mean, this is in the left-hand side. I have a dictionary, that's mean the training text. Maybe this is one of the challenges in Arabic, since we don't have enough dictionaries of Arab words, specifically with some slangs. So we have in the left-hand side, we have satisfied text, neutral text, and not satisfied text. And we can use these texts in order to have a classifier. Again, the classifier by itself, it's another algorithm. So you can see here we have a combination of algorithm into one algorithm. That's why we call it artificial intelligence. And at the end, I can decide if he is happy or not. So these are the 3 steps. So let's see, for example, the sentiment analysis, the mission was great. The first step is I have to tokenize it. That means I have to divide the sentence into different words. The second step is I have to remove the special characters, like stop words, like, for example, exclamation marks, like, for example, any different, characters, I have to remove it. Then I need to remove the stop words. The stop words is the, was, these are the stop words. So the remaining words are the mission and great. The second step is to classify these words. That's mean I need to classify these words like mission and great. So I'll give it a weight. The mission, I'll give it a weight. Is it positive? That's mean 1. If it's negative, -1. If it is neutral, that's mean 0. So here I can see the mission, it's neutral. I cannot say this is positive or negative word. But with the grade, I can see it's a positive word. This is based on the dictionary, which I explained it previously. So that's mean if I count 1 plus 0, it's 1. That's mean the astronaut, he is feeling good. He is feeling, for example, happy because the mission was successfully. So these are the examples, the basic examples, how we are using the artificial intelligence while doing some analysis in space. So let's now have some use cases. I'll start with upstream, then I'll go to the downstream. In the upstream, usually countries and also some agencies using space, artificial intelligence in space explorations. As you can see here, this is a rover sent by NASA to Mars. It's fully automated by artificial intelligence from cameras, from tires, from any type of the sensors. Instead of waiting commands from Earth, because this rover is sending data to the ground stations, to the Earth, it takes long time, maybe few minutes, I think maybe more than 24 minutes to the Earth. And then from Earth, they give a command, in order to reach to the Mars also another few minutes. That's mean maybe the rover will be hit by a stone and maybe the rover will be falling in a groove. That's why they are using artificial intelligence in cameras and laser beams in order to decide by themselves how to move, how to, for example, goes to the right or left or back. As well, right now, SpaceX, they are using artificial intelligence to drive their, stations and shuttle stations to connect with international space stations, to dock with international space stations, and also with rocket landing. As you can see here, this is Falcon 9. It has been passing many experience, and also many rockets has been, failed. They trained these, rockets in order to understand what type of factors they failed the previous rockets in terms of fuels, in terms of wind, in terms of humidity. So, the rocket, it learns by itself using these, data, gathering these data to come back immediately to this station by itself. Another example is the space debris. That's mean the space trash. So right now, the new satellites has been trained from the Earth when they send it to the orbit to avoid, some collisions with some small, I can say, debris or trashes in the space. Today, I think there are more than 34,000 trash, which is more than 10 centimeters. Or orbiting the Earth. That means we need to avoid these debris in order to avoid any collisions. Also, they are using artificial intelligence to simulate the navigation system in the moon. Today, we have a navigation system in the Earth. We are using Google Map, Apple Map, also another different devices that's able us in order to drive and navigate in the Earth. But in the moon, there's no navigation system. They are using artificial intelligence. Once they send unmanned vehicles to the moon, they are going to able to navigate in the moon instead of waiting signals coming from the moon. Also, they are using artificial intelligence with the mission strategy and mission critical strategy during, operating with the health of the satellites, whether inside or outside the satellites. Imagine the gloves of the astronauts is fully automated by sensors, these sensors collecting data about the health of the astronaut himself and also the health of the satellites in order to give commands. Even, for example, if the astronaut try to move his fingers or his hands, maybe the gloves will insist not to move because of the certain, damage. Also, they are using artificial intelligence in robots to help astronauts in critical situations and help also astronauts to decide and to do some critical missions inside space shuttles. So this is one of the examples. It's called Simon. It can listen, it can talk, it can understand, and it can speak. And it's right now available in international space stations, and it's fully automated by artificial intelligence algorithms. They are testing right now these devices in order to control the satellite without human. So from downstream perspective, I can say we can have a huge potentials, especially in countries like Oman, to invest in this area. Like, doing some analysis for some satellite images. So we can identify easily using the artificial intelligence by collecting many satellite images data to identify buildings, to identify some infrastructures like roads. Sorry for the pointer. So here also we can identify the health situation of the roads. Do we have some holes? Do we have some disconnected roads? Do we have some disconnecting utilities with the roads? So drones cannot provide the accurate solution for that because the drones can only fly one time. But the satellites can provide many different satellite images from a certain period of time. Also, we can recognize the water extractions, especially in cyclones. We can find, the depth of water, the amount of water available in a certain area. We can detect also forest or desert. We can detect the farm by, analyzing the data of the satellite. We can have also the construction, whether if it's legal construction or not non-legal constructions. We can identify it immediately from satellite images because we are taking images frequently, or I can say daily, or in each day we can have more than one satellite images, so we can immediately, the artificial intelligence tell us this is a legal construction or non-legal construction. As well, we can detect the greenhouse, whether we have, for example, also legal greenhouses or healthy greenhouses, especially in the Batna coastal area. We can have different, for example, items like sport field, like airplanes, and we can also have ships. This is a very critical solution as well for some authorities here in Oman to detect the ships. This is for the national securities in our coastal area because we have a very long coastal area, so we can identify what type of ships, the size of ships, whether if it is authorized to be in the area or water area of Oman. Also, we can have a detection, a change during period of time. What happened during, for example, this period of time for this land or for this city. Also, we can have desert detections to improve and to stop the desertations in some areas in Sharqiya region, for example, or in Wusta regions, how we can stop the desertations of moving the sands from one place to another. And this is one of the best solutions we can utilize it. Also, we have also some applications we can classify it. And also, one of the good examples to have precision farming. So that's mean we can advise the farmers by collecting the data from the weather. We can collecting the data from the soil. We can collect the data also from some authorities to tell the farmers that this is the right time and this is the right place to farm your crops. In some countries, this technology is used even for insurance companies. So the insurance companies are advising farmers to, for example, to farm their crops in order to produce some certain type of vegetables or fruits. But if the insurance company decided, and seen by the artificial intelligence, this is not good area, so immediately they will cancel the deal. Also, we have another example here by detecting the swimming pool. In some countries, to have a swimming pool, you have to pay a tax. So some countries, unless you have internal swimming pool inside your house. So this is one of the good examples. So they are scanning, the areas by satellites, and they can detect the swimming pool, whether if it is swimming pool or maybe it's a blue area. So also one of the good examples, they are predicting the maintenance of the swimming pool. For example, if you have a swimming pool and it's due to maintenance immediately, if you are subscribing to a satellite company, they will tell you this is due to maintenance. Another good example is creating a heat map and also creating a future projection for our roads, for our cities, using the artificial intelligence, whether the city will be crowded in future and what time of the, peak time and what's the less crowded time. To conclude, the use of artificial intelligence in space, basically when we talk about space, we are not talking about, outside the Earth, we are talking about upstream and downstream. And we have a good potentials here in Oman to invest in space, specifically in services and operation. As you can see, the worldwide, they are spending huge amount of, dollars in the downstream sectors. So the downstream sector is one of the promising sector for artificial intelligence. So a lot of SMEs, entrepreneurs can invest in these areas by subscribing whether to, ready-made applications which can be provided locally, or they can do their artificial intelligence algorithms in order to produce new solution. Thank you very much for listening.